This morning I would like to share excerpts from a Mother's Day reflection by Kathleen Rowlands. This is Mother's Day, a day set aside to honor, celebrate, and in some cases, simply to reflect on those women who gave us birth. Some of us will come to this day with joy, with strong and tender feeling for those women we call our mothers. They're responsible for shaping our spirit. They have fed us, played with us, nurtured us, listened to us. They have given unselfishly for us. They have loved us unconditionally. If our mothers are still living, we make the extra effort to stay in touch. If our mothers have died, we take time to cherish our memories of them. For others, this day is not a time for celebration. It's rather a time for reflection. Perhaps we cannot bring ourselves to buy that Hallmark card, the one that waxes poetically about a mother's love or her presence in our life. Rather, we may feel her absence through death or indifference. We may have complicated, difficult, unhappy associations with mother. Instead, we may use this time to reflect on those who have mothered us, the women in our lives who have shown their love for us, whether through motherhood or mentoring. Those tough, gentle, truth-telling, loving, wise, whimsical women who have served as our teachers, our mentors, our guides, and our friends. And on this Mothering Day, may we remember the great mother that sustains us, whose body is the very substance of our existence, the very ground we walk upon, the very source of our being. From whatever place of the Spirit we come this morning, let us stand again. Okay. Today, 4 of our Live Oak members, Crystal McCauley, Kristen Oddie, Sylvia Sullivan, and Cecilia Ramirez will be speaking. They'll be speaking from their hearts about all their adventures in mothering. And we're going to start out with Crystal, who's going to talk about being mama of a young kid. And then we go to Cecilia, who has a bigger one, a teenager. And then Kristen, who has a grown one. And someone said, they're out of their nest, they're out of our care. That doesn't happen. And then Sylvia will speak about being a grandma.
Good morning. It takes a village to raise a child. And at the age of 36, I put my full faith into this idiom. I found a fertility clinic, I chose a sperm donor, and I started a new adventure, single parenting. After one visit to the clinic, I was pregnant. In a poetic way, I think Finn was just waiting for the opportunity to join me on this earth. The fact is, I was beyond ready for him. My background with children is very strong. It goes back to when I was 14 years old. I've been a camp counselor, a nanny, after-school care provider, a school teacher. I've worked with kids from infants to teens, and I've worked with all types, the disabled, the hyper, the gifted, the defiant, the quiet. I've gone on trips with them, anywhere from the carnival to Washington, D.C. I've picked them up from school, made them dinner, helped them with homework, and then tucked them to bed at night. There is by now a whole army of young adults out there I can rightfully call one of my kids. But there was one thing that was the same across all of them. After giving them my love and my nurturing, I always had to give them back to their own parents and leave. I wanted a child I never had to give back. When I was pregnant, Justine Fisher, who was the DRE at our UU church in Thousand Oaks, she used to say to me, "We get the kids we're supposed to get." And if Justine is right, and Justine has a way of being right, I was meant to get a kid who would put all my years of experience to good use. I've often said Finn is a lot of child to raise. He's stubborn, he's loud, He's strange. And it's my job to transition that stubbornness to grit, which is the quality most highly correlated with student success in the long term. I get to help him learn how to use that loud voice for advocacy. I have to see that the other side of that strangeness, that getting too close to people, bumping into them, interrupting them, that also reflects his comfort with himself and his self-confidence. And my job is to protect that self-confidence while growing his awareness of the people in the world around him. In preparing for this morning, I went back and looked through a few years of my Finn-themed Facebook posts, and I found a few I thought would be kind of fun to share this morning. Quote, "I experience emotions when I'm exposed to darkness." That's Finn's way of saying I'm scared of the dark. From Finn, first thing this morning. There's a joke people play sometimes. They draw a map of somebody going to work, and they draw a map to Starbucks as a metaphor. Finn quote for the night. "I'm thinking of a number. Can you guess what it is? It's friends with infinity, and you can use it to find out how big a circle is." It's pi. From my son this morning. There's a test. It's called the Frozen test. You show a boy the movie Frozen, and if he doesn't like it because it's about girls, he has sexism. After struggling to remember the word he wanted, Finn said, "Only an anthropomorphized mouse can sing a song in a movie." From 5-year-old Finn, by the way, I looked at the date on this. Finn was just about 2 weeks into being 5 years old. From the other room, "Mommy, do you know the play The Man Who Came to Dinner?" Me, "What?" Finn comes into the room holding a playbill and repeats the question, then adds, "Why are you laughing?" When I was in the fertility clinic and they called my name, I walked into the exam room and I took one last moment to check in with myself. If you have any doubts, now is the time to turn back. I did not turn back, and every day since then, I move forward in this new identity, Finn's mom.
Hi everyone, I'm Cecilia Ramirez. I'm mother of Jacob Rosenberg, standing right there. I've been asked to talk a little about what it's like to be the mother of a teenager. And Jacob is now 19 years old, and somewhat similar to Crystal, my psychological and emotional need to become a biological parent took over in my mid-30s. I felt I needed to be a mother. And when it turned out I couldn't have a biological child, my then husband Steve and I decided to adopt a baby from Guatemala. And in late March of 1998, we went to Guatemala City and we picked up our 4.5-month-old big chunky baby boy. He was chunky. You couldn't tell now, but he weighed 20 pounds. Anyway, the first years of childhood went very smoothly, and I just had the best time taking care of my baby and my little boy, and everything was great. And I loved reading to him at night, every night, and doing everything that a parent does for a young child. And the elementary school years also went pretty well. But then it was during the middle school years that my little fun, chunky baby boy, he began to become the proverbial teenager, sullen a little bit. And I thought that I had this parenting thing down because I helped rear stepchildren up to adulthood. But as we know, each kid comes with his or her own gifts and challenges. And I now keenly appreciate my mother, who reared 6 kids of her own through teenagehood and adulthood. That was a handful. A friend once told me that about age 14, give or take, a parent's advice goes in one ear and out the other. And I found that to be pretty accurate. I found that the stereotypical teenager is self-absorbed, moody, selfish, deaf except to friends, teachers, or other people that they might think they're cool. And a lot of their free time is spent trying to fit in with their peers. They text, they always find them with their phone in their face. And they listen to music that most of us adults find objectionable. Sometimes they try on different personas for a while. They try their different hairstyles, speech patterns, sometimes vulgar language. Most of these behaviors are designed to shock. They're trying to find who they truly are, and it's a years-long process. Expect to be surprised, those of you who haven't already grown your children. I experienced a period of time when I looked at my son when he was a teenager, younger teenager, and I thought sometimes I didn't like him. But that's not to say that I loved him any less. As a single parent, I felt I needed help figuring out how to parent that teen. Now this is some of what our family counselor advised me. Avoid shouting matches with my son. We shouted and slammed doors on many occasions, but after cooling off, we would apologize to one another. Also advised to be calm, collected, and firm instead. That's hard to do sometimes. Advised me to discipline consistently. I think I was probably 70% successful in that. Advised me to assign chores, to teach him how to do his own laundry, to not do it for him even if he runs out of clean clothes. I'm 100% on that. The goal is to teach and guide, but let them make their own mistakes. Another thing, at Live Oak here, the youth and every child from baby on up is always so admired and respected and appreciated. And the Live Oak Youth Group especially was very important to my son's personal growth. The group leaders always had a great way of keeping the teens engaged and imparted many ideas, interests, and behaviors that Jacob has adopted, like the appreciation for the outdoors. They got him outdoors. Many other adults here at Live Oak have also valued and appreciated Jacob, and that has been key to his development and maturation. He still comes to Live Oak every Sunday. My teenager graduated high school last June. He didn't want to go to college right away, and he may never want to. He has always had an innate ability to work with and figure out electronics of every sort. He is a born salesperson and was recently hired at Apple full-time. Who knew those endless hours lying on the couch watching YouTube videos about electronics would pay off? Even Jacob's laughing. Over the last year, I have seen my son flourish and his attitude change from one where he seemed to be frustrated by the regimentation of high school to a much happier, fulfilled, and gainfully employed young man. Every evening he comes home from work with stories of how he helped somebody. I'm very grateful. He is becoming independent and self-assured. We've made it through the difficult times, and I am very heartened when from time to time, now my son calls up from upstairs when I'm downstairs, "Mom, Mom," and I instinctively expect he's going to ask me for something, like something to eat or something. But instead, he calls out, "Love you. I'm a mom."
Good morning, and happy Mother's Day. I was asked to speak today as the mother of an adult child. Many of you know my daughter, Chloe, came to Live Oak at age 9 with my husband, Mike, and myself. She attended RE, transitioned in coming of age, went through OWL, our whole lives training, attended the YRUU program and the bridging ceremony when she graduated from high school. She's well-versed in UU values. My excuse for searching for a religious community and then attending Live Oak was to find a safe environment where my daughter could learn about world religions and explore her place in this same world. I felt that she would benefit from the discussion of moral and ethical questions raised here, and it turns out that we as her parents needed the moral compass and support just as much as our daughter. At the time we joined, there were no getting to know UU or path to membership classes, so I wasn't exactly sure what we were signing on for, but I sensed a nurturing, supportive, open-minded, and fun community in which to raise our daughter. I soon realized and continue to feel the acceptance of each individual of our family, warts and all. Chloe's now 25. An adult, and she's been living on her own for 7 years. You've heard me several times at the microphone sharing my concern for her living circumstances, the hard part, her safety and her well-being. As her parent, I find myself thinking, wait, I'm not done. There's so many things I didn't have time to teach her. Yes, I taught her to drive, but does she know where she's going? Yes, I taught her to clean her room, do laundry, cook simple meals, work hard to complete a job, but did I teach her to prioritize and discern which task was most important? Yes, I encouraged her compassionate and generous nature, but did I advise her how to take care of her own needs in relationships? In this dizzying whirlwind of questions, I'm able to come back to my UU faith and its principles to ground me and provide assurance that I'm doing my best as a parent. The first 3 principles are particularly important for me to remember. The inherent worth and dignity of every person. It's hard. Simply put, in my heart, I truly believe Chloe has a right to leave her own life and make her own decisions, even if I, as a parent, disapprove of her present path. Our second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, invites us to be in community with one another. Chloe spent her teenage years here at Live Oak. She laughed, loved, and learned here in your midst. I believe at her core, in her heart, she feels connected to this community, the people in it, and the support it provides her. Our third principle states our acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in congregations. I believe as a parent, it's my job to support Chloe in her search for a meaningful path in life. It's difficult to stand aside and watch her make what I see as mistakes. It's frustrating to see her spinning her wheels and getting no traction. I pray for her spirit and stamina, and I pray for our own understanding, patience, and compassion. Parenting my child now is a different challenge than when she was young. Parenting now is a delicate balance of letting go, staying out of the way, not giving unsolicited advice, but being available for emotional and financial support. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to remain in relationship with her. She tries my patience, makes foolish choices, doesn't see the lesson life is giving her. In other words, she's maturing at her own pace. Often I want to walk away, hang up the phone, and tune out. But I've learned a radical concept here at Live Oak. That whatever happens, we commit to staying connected. As a parent, that's my bottom line. In her welcome statement on our website, Reverend Tamara says, Live Oak is a place that values the multiplicity of spiritual journeys and allows for the growth of our whole selves, mind, body, and spirit. And isn't that really every parent's fondest wish, that their child grow into their best selves?
Morning. At first, when Gloria asked me to speak to the congregation about being a grandma for 5 minutes or so, I thought, eek, 5 minutes? That's a long time. But then I remembered that I am constantly telling anyone who will listen about the cute, smart, funny, and wise things my grandchildren say and do. My sister can attest to this. So 5 minutes will not be a problem for me. I love being a grandma. A quote that speaks to how I feel about grandparenting was written by Pam Leo. And quote, "Children need at least one person in their life who thinks the sun rises and sets on them, someone who delights in their existence and loves them unconditionally." Parents love unconditionally, of course, but as a grandma, I am not responsible for their care 24/7. I have the luxury of a certain distance, and that makes me more able to just love them. Simply by being close by, I can relieve some of the stress of my son's young family as they struggle with not having enough time to take care of their many responsibilities. I take my cues from my own mother, who gently cared for my boys when they were sick and gave us all the love and support that generations share with each other. She had a calming effect, and I hope I do too, as well as sharing a bit of wisdom now and then, always being careful not to give unsolicited advice, which I realize now is not always easy. Sure, there are times when I cannot do something because my grandson needs to be picked up from school. But what an honor it is to be there when the bell rings. Because in the larger scheme of things, being part of my grandchildren's lives brings a wonderful meaning and pleasure to my own life. One of my greatest joys is laughing with them and listening to them as they learn how to navigate this world. Because of them and all the future inhabitants of this earth, it feels more critical than ever to leave this world a better place. Now, working towards saving the environment and social justice is personal. My 7-year-old grandson in particular is curious about my life and listens intently to stories of my youth, surprising me with questions like, "And how did you feel about that, Grandma?" I blink and have to think about that one. Spending time with my grandchildren gives me a unique opportunity to foster an appreciation for nature or teach the importance of kindness, thoughtfulness, and honesty in this ever-changing world. I am reminded of fast-paced change, as well as the fact that important values remain the same. As I bring gifts to the table, I receive much in return from being Grammy or Grandmama. I get to enjoy the energy of the young, the music, dancing, sports, and just playing around. At this time of my life also, I'm realizing that I am somewhat behind in technology matters. So who did I go for help with a PowerPoint presentation? My teenage granddaughter, of course, and she had no problem at all. Of course, life is life, with all its ups and downs. My older grandchildren I must love from afar, as their parents went through a bitter custody battle, and I'm not able to see them at this time. I miss them very much and send them my love every day, hoping that they are doing well. And I have faith that we will have a relationship again one day and look forward to that special time with them. So, as I ponder the important subject of grandmotherhood on this Mother's Day, I remember the excitement of examining a roly-poly with a little one, the sweetness of seeing marching bands and graduations, and the richness of relationships of all kinds. I delight in their precious existence. Thank you.
Spirit of life, known to us in many ways, but so often in so many cultures in the image of a mother. Hold us in your arms this day. We are grateful for all the parents that share the community of this congregation, the young ones and the old ones, those still with us and those departed. May the blessings they give us be rich and overflowing. This community is a great blessing. We are gifted with the chance to celebrate births and parenting and the glorious unfolding of human potential. May it be so.